What's up, guys? Happy New Year. So we're going to be going over a couple of the trades I took this week. Had a big day today, huge week just to start. I'm going to go over overall market thoughts, try to keep this short, 5 minutes or so. First things first, I always look at the weekly, the monthly on SPY and QQQ. These are going to be your market gauges, right? If you guys take a look, right, we're in this giant ass trend, okay? This giant channel. And when you zoom out on the monthly, it doesn't really even look that bad. Kind of just looks like a bull flag from that 2020 move up, right? But when you look at the weekly chart, we had something finally potentially happen here to signal a possible higher low, right? Now you could say that we almost had one here, right? And then we had that move up, and then it rejected back down. This time we made an equal high, and we're making a higher low here, okay? So, being that we made this equal high to here, right, we possibly could see another move up. Now, just because we have these three inside bars, this is the past pretty much month, right? We may not break this 20 EMA here. Obviously, if you take a look at VPVR, right, we have a huge volume shelf coming up here at 394, 395, right? But then it would be a straight shot back to that 415 or so range. So the market's always pricing in everything ahead of time, about a year. So, being that the Fed has already stepped up the rate increases, right? That's why we had the big drop over the past couple months. But, pricing in that hopefully it'll slow down within 9 to 12 months. Market makers are going to be starting to look at good pricing here, right, on a lot of names. So there's a lot of great value out there on a bunch of names whose PE ratios have obviously been slashed dramatically, right? No longer trading at 50 to 100 times PE ratios. So anyway, if you take a look right at SPY, you'll actually see that obviously the lows here with 347, right? And we basically held this 380 range, okay? So, while SPY's held this range here of about 10% higher, okay? You take a look at QQQ, which is tech, and tech's really hasn't actually held up, right? It's not up that much higher compared to these lows, right? It was actually sitting at them pretty much this whole week. So it's only about 4%, 5%, right? Higher than those lows. It even touched them. It was only up about 2% to make that higher low here, right? So tech has been dragged down heavily. And now tech was a big part of the S&P. You guys got to remember it was hyperinflated from the late 2018, 19, 20, right, 21 from COVID. So now you're really getting a lot of value, and you're getting SPY held up by names like what? Boeing, right, making moves back. Caterpillar's at all-time highs. You're going to have healthcare stocks that were at all-time highs, right? There's multiple different sectors that did very well, even while tech was down, okay? And you got to remember, the S&P is obviously made up of multiple sectors rather than just tech. Now, like I said before, this might be a good spot for fair value for tech, right? So this is why going into this year, after the end of December, I decided to swing some calls this week, leading up to this Friday into next week, as well as leading up into Powell's speech on Tuesday and CPI on Thursday, okay? So I am expecting it to be a bit more dovish Tuesday, as we have seen some job numbers come in we had new jobs come in today that were 203K versus I think it was 230K the other week. So that does show slower job growth, which is good because, again, multiple people have to be put, unfortunately, out of work, and there needs to be a mini recession in order to prevent a major one. Okay. Also, year over year, wage increases were only 4% compared to the inflation, which is about 10% or plus, right? Real inflation, at least. So, basically what I was looking for is a hold of this low on QQQ and tech. A lot of names look great, right? You take a look at names like Amazon on the weekly chart, right? Had a hammer last week into the end of 2022, sitting at that COVID low, right here. Take a look at names like Meta, right? Had a nice flag for the month of November into December, okay? And then we broke out, obviously, this week. So Meta as well with the breakout. Another name, saw a bunch of action, I believe Netflix. Yeah, Netflix has been on a steady rise as well after that piss poor earnings in April, right? So we've seen a lot of stocks start to, have gradual recoveries from these lows compared to the overall market, right? So you see these strong names have continued, like I mentioned, Cat, Boeing, etc. But tech is starting to feel like there's potential bottom in place. So this is why I swung calls. I am looking to hold these into next week. Like I said, I will take most profit going into Tuesday, depending on what Powell will say, right? Don't want to be too risky, but let's just go over what happened today. So today, again, we had job numbers come out, right? We had that big move up in the market. It was faded right at the open. Now, if you take a look at where it faded, right, we take these lows to the highs. It actually bounced right here at the golden pocket. If you haven't understood what the golden pocket is or don't know, watch some of my other videos. You'll find them on my channel below. Got that huge move up from here. We got a good report at 10 a.m. ISM. If you guys need to check news, you always want to use Market Watch. You can check the calendar here. So you'll see we had that big pump at 8:30 on unemployment and payrolls, which I mentioned. And then ISM came in as well, which sent us higher. Okay, Fed had some good comments as well from Bostic, mentioning that 25 basis point raise instead of possibly 50, or definitely warranting out 75. So that's why we had a nice send in the market. We saw stocks like I mentioned before, Boeing having huge flexes, Caterpillar, etc. And we also saw that move up in tech. So I pull up my TOS here, right? This is where I'm at on the year. I already posted a couple screenshots of this. The other day it was up about 40, was down about 20 something or so, I believe, yesterday. Was able to pretty much recover that back today. And now I'm sitting at about 111 on the year. Made a couple thousand the first day on Tuesday as well. So that's where the differential comes from. But most of the trades that I'm holding right now are just going to be swings into next week. So what I'm holding right now, show you guys. I'm holding, this will expire worthless, ENPH. I put a couple thousand in there. Unfortunately, did not go where I wanted. I was diversifying into the energy sector a bit. So you can see I'm obviously down 2,300 on that. Lost 3,800. Took a little bit of profit when it was in profit, and then the rest faded to zero. But I'm holding NVIDIA, Apple, QQQ going into next week. Looking to take profit on those if we don't see continuation on Monday. Have Friday's expiration, so if we do get a little pullback, not too worried about it. But turn this account pretty much from 50K to 160, after fees and everything, in just a little under a week. Didn't even get a full trading week. But that's what I'm looking at so far, guys. There's all the orders, etc. And yeah, so I'll be doing a bunch of recaps going forward, and hope you guys are gonna have a good, successful year. Don't give up based on what happened last year. It is a new year, new you, right? Make your resolution to just become a better trader, be able to analyze markets, understand the technicals, but mostly understand fundamentals too, right? You got to be able to read this data, guys. The data that comes out is huge nowadays, and if you're not able to understand it, right, you really have to look up, what each of these things mean. Okay, so that's why I constantly preach to people. You have to constantly look at the calendar. You have to know next week, okay, Powell's speaking in Sweden, right? We're getting inventories on Tuesday. Fed inflation expectations on Monday. Consumer credit, right? Thursday's the big day, CPI, etc. Friday, Michigan report as well. So these are things you guys got to keep in mind as you keep trading. But I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I look forward to talking with you guys throughout the rest of the year. Cheers.